Instead, the knowledge was deliberately structured. It wasn't random information. It was a carefully constructed technological roadmap that could guide human development for generations. International scientific conferences became heated discussions. Some researchers saw unlimited potential. Others warned about the risks of technologies too advanced for current human understanding. The probe continued to reveal its secrets. Each day brought new discoveries, new possibilities that challenged everything humans thought they knew about technology, science, and their place in the universe. Medical researchers found genetic adaptation technologies that could potentially extend human lifespans. Environmental scientists discovered ecological restoration methods that could reverse decades of environmental damage. As weeks passed, the world began to change. Technologies emerged that seemed to solve problems humans had struggled with for generations. Energy production became cleaner, medical treatments became more effective, space exploration suddenly seemed within reach. Ji-un looked at the probe. This small device that had traveled millions of light years, collecting knowledge and returning home. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a messenger, a teacher, a bridge between humanity and something far more complex. "We are not alone," she whispered, watching the data streams flow. "And we are about to become something entirely new." The probe pulsed with its mysterious energy, holding secrets that would transform human civilization forever. The world changed quietly at first, then all at once. Daniel Park stood at the window of the secure research facility, watching the EA's sunrise and understanding that everything was different now. The probe's return had become humanity's turning point. Global communication networks buzzed with unprecedented excitement. Scientists, politicians, and everyday people recognized something fundamental had shifted. The lost probe was more than a technological discovery. It was a cosmic messenger that rewrote human potential. Emma Taylor, the interstellar relations specialist, prepared the first public presentation. Her team had spent weeks carefully crafting a narrative that would help humanity understand their new place in the universe. The probe's journey revealed that humans were not alone. More importantly, they were not insignificant. The collected data suggested a complex universal ecosystem where technological adaptation was the primary language of communication. Cities began transforming. New energy systems emerged overnight. Technologies that seemed like distant dreams became immediate realities. Solar collection systems became hundreds of times more efficient. Transportation networks redesigned themselves using quantum communication principles discovered in the probe's logs. Medical facilities started implementing revolutionary treatment methods. Genetic diseases that were once considered permanent now had potential solutions. Human biological understanding expanded dramatically, suggesting potential for extended lifespans and enhanced physical capabilities. Space exploration programs received immediate funding. The probe's navigational data revealed safe routes through cosmic regions previously considered impossible to traverse. Young scientists suddenly saw careers that would have been unimaginable just months earlier. Daniel noticed how people's perspectives changed. Fear of the unknown transformed into excitement about potential. The probe had brought back more than technological information. It had brought hope. International boundaries started losing meaning. The probe's knowledge suggested that technological progress required global cooperation. Nations that were once competitors now found themselves working together, sharing research and developing collective strategies. Educational systems underwent radical transformations. Schools began teaching quantum communication principles, cosmic adaptation technologies, and expanded scientific methodologies. Children started learning about potential cosmic interactions as standard curriculum. The probe itself became a symbol of human potential. Housed in a specially designed research center, it continued to pulse with its mysterious energy. Scientists worked around it like priests around a sacred artifact, understanding that this small device represented humanity's greatest achievement. Emma discovered something profound in the probe's final logs. The journey wasn't accidental. Something or someone had deliberately guided the probe back to humanity. It was as if the universe itself was offering an invitation to something greater. Global leaders gathered in unprecedented unity. The probe's return had done what decades of diplomatic efforts could not. It had created a sense of collective human identity. Political differences seemed small compared to the massive cosmic potential now available. Environmental restoration became possible with the new technologies. Climate change solutions emerged from the probe's collected data. Sustainable energy systems that were once theoretical became immediate implementations. Daniel watched as the first experimental space missions began using the probe's navigational insights. Spacecraft designed with the new technologies could travel distances previously considered impossible. Humanity was no longer confined to a single planet. The most remarkable transformation happened in human consciousness. People began to see themselves differently. They were not just inhabitants of a small planet, but potential cosmic explorers with unprecedented technological capabilities. Emma noticed how language itself started changing. New words emerged to describe the technological and cosmic understanding brought by the probe. Communication became more precise, more nuanced, reflecting the complex information now available. Research centers around the world worked continuously. Each day brought new discoveries, new possibilities that expanded human potential. The probe had become more than a technological artifact. It was a bridge to a larger universal understanding. As months passed, humanity transformed. The lost probe had returned with a message. They were capable of more than they had ever imagined. They were adaptable, resilient, and part of a much larger cosmic ecosystem. Daniel looked at the probe one last time. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a testament to human potential, a symbol of what could be achieved through curiosity, persistence, and an unbreakable spirit of exploration. The universe had sent a message. Humanity was ready to listen. One particular log showed a dramatic sequence. The probe had encountered a massive energy field that would have destroyed conventional technology. Instead of being obliterated, it had somehow redirected its own quantum systems, creating a protective barrier that allowed it to slip through the dangerous cosmic region. The most intriguing encounters involved what seemed to be technological exchanges. The probe had collected fragments of alien technologies, integrating them into its own systems. It was like a cosmic magpie, collecting technological treasures from different civilizations and making them part of its own being. Sung Ho discovered a sequence that made his blood run cold. The probe had encountered what appeared to be a massive technological network, something far beyond human comprehension. This network seemed to be aware of the probe's existence, sometimes guiding it, sometimes testing it. "It's like the probe was being studied," Rachel muttered, reviewing the complex data streams. The alien interactions weren't random. They seemed purposeful, as if the probe was part of some larger cosmic experiment. The device had developed communication, methods that went beyond traditional understanding. It used quantum entanglement, mathematical sequences, and energy patterns to communicate with civilizations that had no similarity to human communication systems. One particularly dramatic log showed an encounter with what seemed to be a civilization. The probe's recordings suggested a tense interaction, almost like a complex dance of technological survival. It adapted, redirected, and ultimately escaped what could have been a destructive encounter. The most surprising element was the probe's decision-making process. It wasn't following a simple programmed path. It was making choices, avoiding dangers, and collecting information with what appeared to be a form of intelligence that went far beyond its original programming. Rachel found a sequence that suggested the probe had been deliberately modified during its journey. Technological patches from unknown civilizations had been integrated into its core systems. It was no longer just a human-made device. It had become something entirely new. Sung Ho noticed patterns that suggested the probe had been deliberately guided. Some encounters seemed too precise to be random. Something or someone had been watching its journey, perhaps even directing its path through the vast cosmic landscape. The research team worked around the clock, each discovery more fascinating than the last. The probe had become a living record of cosmic encounters, a testament to human technology's potential for adaptation and survival. As they decoded more information, the team realized the probe represented more than just a scientific discovery. It was a message, a signal that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that their technology could survive in ways they had never imagined. The final logs suggested the probe had made a conscious decision to return home. After years of exploration, collecting and surviving, it had chosen to bring its collected knowledge back to its original creators. Sung-ho looked at Rachel, a mixture of excitement and fear in his eyes. "We're not just looking at a probe," he said quietly. "We're looking at the first true ambassador of human technology in the universe." The probe continued to pulse with its mysterious energy, holding secrets that would change humanity's understanding of space technology and their place in the cosmic ecosystem. Something had guided it home, and that journey was about to reveal truths beyond human imagination. The world changed the moment the probe's collected knowledge began to unfold. Ji-eun Kim sat in the research center, her hands trembling as she processed the first set of technological insights. What had started as a simple recovery mission was now transforming into humanity's greatest scientific breakthrough. Global scientific communities converged like never before. Universities, research centers, and government facilities created emergency task forces to analyze the probe's data. The information wasn't just technical, it was revolutionary. Energy production models emerged first. The probe's collected data suggested technologies that could solve humanity's energy crisis in weeks, not decades. Fusion systems that were once theoretical became practical blueprints. Solar collection methods showed efficiencies that seemed impossible by previous standards. Alexander Rodriguez, the theoretical physics coordinator, discovered something extraordinary. The probe had collected mathematical sequences that rewrote fundamental understanding of quantum mechanics. Complex problems that had stumped scientists for generations suddenly found elegant solutions. Medical research teams found themselves overwhelmed. The probe's data included biological adaptation technologies that could potentially cure genetic diseases, reverse aging processes, and understand human cellular structures in ways never before imagined. Cancer research teams worked around the clock, decoding fragments that suggested complete cellular regeneration. But the knowledge wasn't just about technology. The probe carried cultural fragments from alien civilizations, mathematical languages, communication patterns, and technological philosophies that expanded human understanding of intelligence itself. "This isn't just data," Ji-eun told her colleagues. "This is a complete technological library from multiple cosmic civilizations." Military researchers quickly recognized the potential strategic implications. The probe's defensive technologies suggested methods of protection that went beyond current human understanding. Energy shields, quantum communication systems, and adaptive protection technologies emerged from the collected data. Space exploration teams found themselves reimagining human potential. The probe's journey suggested routes through cosmic regions previously considered impossible to navigate. Star systems that were once theoretical became potential destinations. Global tensions began to rise. Nations recognized that the probe's knowledge could shift global power balances. Countries began secret negotiations, each wanting to control the technological insights that could transform human civilization. Universities created emergency research programs. Young scientists found themselves working on technologies that would have been considered science fiction just months earlier. Quantum computing, biological adaptation, energy production, everything was changing. The most fascinating discovery came from unexpected sources. The probe's collected knowledge suggested that technological evolution wasn't just about machines. It was about adaptation, learning, and understanding complex systems. Ji-eun discovered something that made her pause. The probe hadn't just collected information, it had curated it. Like an intelligent librarian, it had selected knowledge that could help humanity grow, develop, and potentially survive future challenges. Alexander noticed patterns that suggested the vast emptiness of space held a secret, dormant and waiting. NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station hummed with routine activity until a sudden burst of quantum signals shattered the silence. Jay Park, a seasoned research director with piercing, dark eyes and weathered hands, stared at the flickering screen in disbelief. XR732, a probe lost over a century and a half ago, forgotten by most and remembered only in dusty archives. Its transmission was weak but unmistakable, a ghost from humanity's early deep space exploration era, returning from the infinite darkness. The probe's original mission had been simple: explore the outer reaches of the solar system's edge. Launched. In 2083, it was an experimental craft equipped with cutting-edge quantum communication technology that was considered revolutionary for its time. Most scientists believed it had been destroyed during a massive solar storm that ravaged communication networks decades ago. Hannah Lee, the quantum decryption specialist, worked frantically beside Jay. Her fingers danced across holographic interfaces, pulling apart the fragmented signal with surgical precision. Each decoded byte revealed something extraordinary. The probe wasn't just transmitting, it was alive in a way no mechanical device should be. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. The signal contained complex data patterns that suggested adaptive programming far beyond the probe's original specifications. Something had happened during its long journey, something unexpected. The research facility buzzed with growing excitement. Technicians rushed between workstations. Analysts cross-referenced historical mission logs, and senior researchers began preliminary assessments. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. It was potentially a paradigm-shifting moment for human understanding of space exploration. Jay watched the data streams, his mind racing. The probe had traveled beyond known galactic boundaries, surviving, where every prediction suggested total destruction. Its quantum communication core, designed as an experimental technology, had somehow maintained functionality for over 150 years. Initial scans revealed the probe had collected massive amounts of data. Fragmented images flickered across secondary screens, glimpses of unknown star systems, radiation patterns never before documented, and complex mathematical sequences that defied current scientific understanding. "We need to stabilize the signal," Jay instructed his team. Every second of transmission was precious. Every fragment of data could represent years of potential scientific knowledge. The probe's journey had been long and mysterious. It had vanished during a critical mission to map the outer solar system's electromagnetic boundaries. Funding cuts, technological limitations, and the immense challenges of deep space exploration had eventually consigned XR732 to the realm of forgotten missions. Now it had returned. Hannah's voice cut through the tension. "Director Park, you need to see this." She pointed to a specific data segment that seemed to pulse with an unusual energy signature. The probe's internal systems showed signs of modification, not random degradation, but purposeful adaptation. Something or someone had been influencing the probe during its long journey. The research team worked in intense concentration, each member understanding the potential magnitude of their discovery. This wasn't just about recovering a lost piece of technology. This was about understanding what might have happened to the probe during its impossible voyage. Outside the facility's reinforced windows, the California landscape remained unchanged. But inside, humanity stood on the precipice of a potentially world-altering revelation. A forgotten probe, lost for generations, was about to tell a story that would challenge everything they knew about space, technology, and their place in the universe. Jay Park allowed himself a small smile. Sometimes the most incredible discoveries came from the most unexpected sources. XR732 was about to become more than just a historical footnote. It was going to be a legend. The quantum signal continued to pulse, carrying its ancient secrets across the vast, silent expanse of space, a whisper of humanity's enduring spirit of exploration. The research facility transformed into a high-tension environment as scientists began analyzing the probe's mysterious technological adaptations. Michael Wong, a systems integration specialist with a reputation for solving impossible technical puzzles, carefully connected the first data interface to the recovered probe. Initial scans revealed something impossible. The probe's internal systems were not just intact, they had evolved. Circuits that should have degraded centuries ago showed remarkable resilience, with complex adaptive networks that seemed to breathe with an almost living intelligence. Hannah Lee noticed the first anomaly. The probe's original quantum processors, designed in the early 22nd century, had somehow integrated fragments of technological remnants from multiple sources. It wasn't just a simple mechanical device anymore, it had become something more. "This is beyond our current understanding," she whispered, her hands trembling slightly as she traced the intricate pathways of modified circuitry. Each connection told a story of survival, of adaptation beyond human engineering. The probe's core programming had developed a self-preservation algorithm that continuously modified its own systems. Where human-made technology would have failed, this device had found ways to repair, replace, and improve itself using fragments of technology encountered during its journey. Scientists worked in shifts, each team bringing fresh eyes to the mounting evidence. The probe had collected technological fragments from multiple sources, some clearly alien, others so advanced they defied current scientific classification. It was like finding a living museum of cosmic technological evolution. Michael discovered something even more startling. The probe's communication systems had developed a form of contextual learning. It didn't just collect data, it understood data. The quantum processors had created complex decision-making networks that mimicked advanced artificial intelligence. "It's learning," he told Jay Park, pointing to intricate algorithmic patterns. "The probe doesn't just transmit information, it processes, understands, and adapts to new information in real time." The implications were massive. This single probe represented a technological leap that could revolutionize human understanding of space exploration, artificial intelligence, and adaptive technologies. Government representatives began arriving at the research facility. Military experts, technology specialists, and senior scientific advisors wanted to understand the potential of this discovered technology. Some saw opportunity, others saw potential threats. Classified briefings revealed the probe's journey had taken it through regions of space never before explored by human technology. It had survived radiation storms, encountered unknown energy signatures, and collected technological fragments from civilizations humanity had never known existed. The probe's outer shell told its own story. What was once a pristine white research device now bore marks of incredible journeys. Microscopic technological patches, adaptive materials that seemed to heal themselves, surface modifications that suggested encounters with unknown environmental challenges. Hannah's team worked to decode the probe's internal logs. Each fragment revealed more questions than answers. How had it survived? What intelligence guided its journey? The probe seemed to have developed a sense of purpose beyond its original mission. Late one night, as most of the facility slept, Michael discovered something truly extraordinary. The probe's core systems contained complex mathematical sequences that suggested communication patterns. It wasn't just collecting data, it was potentially communicating with something. "We're looking at the first true artificial intelligence," he told Jay Park. "Not just a program device, but a living technological entity that has learned and grown during its journey." The research facility became a fortress of secrecy. Every discovery was documented, analyzed, and carefully controlled. The world wasn't ready to know the full extent of what this single probe represented, a bridge between human technology and something far more advanced. As dawn broke, the probe continued to pulse with its mysterious energy. It had traveled millions of light years, survived impossible conditions, and returned home with secrets that would change humanity's understanding of technology, space, and their place in the universe. Something had guided the probe home, and that something was about to change everything. The probe's decoded transmissions revealed a journey beyond human imagination. Sung-Ho Park carefully examined the holographic displays, his eyes wide with disbelief. Each fragment of data told a story of incredible encounters that challenged everything humanity understood about space exploration. The first encounter appeared to be with a civilization of crystalline beings. Their technology was so different from human understanding that the initial recordings looked like abstract art rather than a communication log. The probe's adaptive systems had somehow managed to establish a momentary connection, exchanging what seemed like mathematical patterns of communication. Rachel Chen, the interstellar archaeology specialist, noticed something peculiar. The probe's recordings suggested these encounters were not always peaceful. Some interactions appeared to be narrow escapes, with the small human-made device using incredibly complex evasion techniques that seemed almost intelligent.